Hello, Internet. It is I, the Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today, we're going to be talking about The Fall Guy. And just a heads up, I'm doing this on a brand new phone. So, like, if I move the screen like that and it looks all weird, that's why. It's a new phone. So, don't be alarmed. But, anywho, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros, movie stars Ryan Gosling. Y'all know who he is at this point, especially after last year. Yeah, Ryan Gosling, he's been doing this for quite a long time. Uh, I know he was technically in Remember the Titans, but the first movie people mainly know him for is The Notebook, which was a big hit in the summer of '04, in the shadow of Spider-Man 2, pretty much. It managed to find a pretty sizable audience and become like a big classic, for of the genre. So yeah, that was his like breakout role right there. There was that Fracture. No one really remembers Fracture. Crazy Stupid Love. There's that Drive. That was a that's one I like quite a bit. It was a movie that got some flack because the marketing made it was a little misleading. Kind of sold it as an action movie, an exciting action movie when it really wasn't. So that had to deal with that. But I still think it's a good movie. Probably not for everyone, but yeah, I think it's a good movie. Yeah, Ides of March, Gangster Squad, Place Beyond the Pines, Big Short, La La Land. That was a big one right there. That earned Emma Stone her first Oscar, and it won Best Picture before they realized, oh shit, we fucked up. Moonlight actually won that infamous moment. And then Blade Runner 2049, a movie that failed when it really shouldn't have. That really pisses me off that people didn't support that one. And then First Man, the movie that had like a lot of controversy surrounding it because they didn't put the American flag in like the scene where Neil Armstrong lands on the moon. People got real up in arms about that. That may have costed some dollars. I can't say how many dollars, but it probably cost them like a few. But the important thing is that last year, Ryan Gosling was Ken, just Ken. Okay, he was Ken in the Barbie movie, and the Barbie movie, as you know, was stupidly successful. It was the biggest movie of last year. It made over 600 million in the states, 1.4 billion worldwide. Got nominated for Oscars. Ryan Gosling got nominated for an Oscar for that movie. Hell, at the Oscars, he performed "I'm Just Ken," which is no doubt the most iconic part about the Barbie movie was that song because it was just that good. And so yeah, following up Barbie with Fall Guy, I mean that's got to be good for Fall Guy, obviously. So yeah, I mean Ryan Gosling, he's on fire right now after the insane success of Barbie. Then we also have Emily Blunt, who is also quite popular. Of a lot of her movies, like doing very well for themselves. But we gotta go with, like the main ones here. I mean, most of this stuff initially is just kind of like like small roles or like supporting roles. Like Devil Wears Prada, she wasn't like a main player in that. That was very much the Meryl Streep Anne Hathaway show. She was in the Muppets movie. I forgot about that. Gulliver's Travels. Who even remembers that movie? I don't think anyone does. Probably for the best. Um. Oh, Edge of Tomorrow. That's when I first like really noticed Emily Blunt. That made me go, okay, she's cool. And that movie's really good. Very underrated. It deserved better. in my opinion. Very much deserved better. Into the Woods was a hit, although that was an ensemble movie. Sicario, she was a very much a main player in that, even though they literally cut her from the sequel. I don't even know why it got a sequel in the first place, but it just did. Huntsman Winters, no one remembers that movie at all. God. Girl on the Train did all right for itself. Quiet Place, that's a big one right there. That movie popped off and spawned a whole franchise. Mary Poppins Returns, it did okay, but definitely didn't make the money it probably should have. But it didn't do terrible. They had Quiet Place Part 2, which was a movie that was like the first real example of a movie bringing audiences back to the cinema in a much bigger capacity when compared to, say, Godzilla versus Kong. It was a lot bigger than that, at least domestically it was. Jungle Cruise, that had to deal with Disney Plus Premier Access shenanigans. Oppenheimer, that was just last year. how how fitting is this? We got an actor from Barbie and an actor from Oppenheimer together on the big screen. Fantastic. Um, yeah, Emily Blunt, she's been in some very notable movies, successful movies, and she definitely has a lot of fans, as does Ryan Gosling. So having these two together, I think is great. You know, so yeah, I'd say both the presences here are really good for the movie. So yeah, I'm gonna label both of them as pros. Another pros, this movie is from David Leitch. He's definitely made a name for himself when it comes to the in the action movie space. You know, he's like really he started, as you see here, like stunt coordinator for movies like, Speed Racer, Hansel and Gretel, Witch Hunters, the Bay Turtle, the Bay Turtle movie from 2014. But John Wick, he was a producer for that, and then after that, he started making his own movies like Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, Hobbs and Shaw, Bullet Train. And these movies have been pretty darn successful. Atomic Blonde wasn't a huge hit, but it did okay for itself. Deadpool 2 made a lot of money, probably not as much as it should have, but still did pretty darn good at the end of the day. Hobbs and Shaw did okay, I guess. It did fine. Bullet Train did okay, but I thought it would do a lot better. I don't know why. I just thought it would, I guess, pop off a little more, but it still did good. So, David Leitch, I mean, he has a pretty solid track record, to say the least, like financially and quality wise. Even though, I guess, well, Bullet Train, that's definitely more of an audience favorite. But yeah, I say his track record is pretty good. So I'm going to label him as a pro. Another pro is that reviews for this movie are very good, 83%. Nothing negative to say about that. Audience score is 87%, which I think is good, and yes, solid. Not incredible, solid. Cinema score A minus. So overall word of mouth is good across the board. So I got labeled that as a pro. Another pro is the fact that Universal have been pushing this movie pretty hard. They want this movie to do something. They, because of circumstances, mainly strike related circumstances, this movie is starting the summer, and ideally you want to start the summer off with a bang, because if you don't, you're just going to put summer in a hole, and it's going to take a while for you to get out of that hole. So universally, they've been trying hard to like make this feel like an event, and I commend them for that. That's what you should do. That's what you're supposed to do. So yeah, say the marketing campaign, you gotta label that as a pro. Another pro is that competition, there's not a whole lot of direct competition like at all right now. I mean, I know in the action, when it comes to action movies, We got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes next week. And then 2 weeks after that, there's Furiosa, but that's like way the end of May. But now this is more Fall Guys, more comedic based, and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is more like sci-fi based. So it's not really the same thing. And the other two movies this is dealing with this weekend are a movie that's 25 years old, getting a re-release, and then a movie, Tarot, a movie that nobody wants to see. So competition isn't too bad. Let's just say that. So I'm gonna label that as a pro. And I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, cons. Thursday previews. They're not well. This isn't really. I guess it's a con because like 3.1 million. I mean, for a non-franchise movie like this, I mean, I know it's based off a TV show, but nobody remembers the TV show at all. So for a lot of people, they probably think it is an original movie. But 3.1 million. I mean, that's like okay-ish, but it's not a great result. I mean, for comparison's sake, let's look at David Leitch's last movie, Bullet Train. If I can get to it. Yes. This came out like at the end of summer, not the beginning. So there's a bit of a difference there. But that had 4.6 million in previews, and I opened with 30 million. So that's really not a good sign. I don't think the legs are going to be. I don't think the multiplier is going to be that bad, but yeah, it's not great to make like a third less than Bullet Train. So that's a con. I would say big old con right there, big red flag. And I don't know, another con, a strong con, is the fact that well, Universal this year, with the exception, like the lone exception of Kung Fu Panda 4, 2024 has been pretty shit for them. It has not been good. I mean, what have they had this year? They had like Night Swim, which no one watched or no one cared about. Argyle, which well, they just distributed that. That was an Apple movie, but that movie was a disaster. um, what else did they have? There's like Lisa Frankenstein, which nobody watched. And then like last month they had okay, it was they had Monkey Man, which didn't do great, which is a shame because it's I thought it was really good. Abigail, which isn't setting the world on fire either, despite good feedback. And yeah, it's not been good. It has not been good for Universal. So yeah, just Universal's like bad luck right now. You gotta label that as a con. And I can't think of any other obvious cons really. Well, I guess I could mention its release date. Well, that's not a con, it's a pro because this is technically the first weekend of the summer movie season. That's how it works. But usually we start with a superhero movie. That's how we've been doing this for like what, 20 years? Over 20 years? I think the only years where that wasn't the case was like 2004, 5, 6. I'm trying to think. 8 to 2018, 2019. Although for those two you could argue started a week early because Infinity War and Endgame came out like literally the end of April. So there's that. 2020 disqualifying that. 20 and then 2021 there was no superhero movie. But yeah, for the most part, a superhero movie opens the first week of the summer movie season. That's just how it is. Usually a Marvel movie. That wasn't the case because of the strikes. We were supposed to get Captain America 4 initially, but then that got moved away. And then we were supposed to get Deadpool 3. Oh, I'm sorry, Deadpool and Wolverine, my bad. Supposed to get that in May. got pushed to late July. And so I guess Universal's like, well, some movies got to fill that gap. And they decided Fall Guy was going to be that movie. So, I mean, that's good, I guess. Has, a big spot on the calendar, a very notable spot on the calendar. So I got labeled as a pro, I guess. But at the same time, like if this movie doesn't do good, then like it puts Summer in a really bad position. Like as I said, you want Summer to start well, because if it doesn't start well, then you put yourself in a hole. And yeah, that would not be ideal. Because 2024, it's already been bad. You don't want it to get worse. So yeah, like that release overall it's a pro, but at least the high expectations. And if you don't live up to those expectations, it's not gonna end well. So it's kind of a pro con situation. But anywho, yeah. So opening weekend. Initially, I was thinking this movie with reviews and everything, with the release date, I thought it could open with like the 40 million. I was thinking maybe it could hit 40. If it can, that'd be fine. But looking at early numbers, that is not happening, and I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if this is something that's happening that I'm just not seeing. But it's apparently it's now opening like in the high 20s, which would be terrible considering its budget. Um, I'm gonna say 30 million, give or take. 25 to 30 million opening weekend, and its total should have good legs realistically. Um, 80, 80, 90 million, maybe not that high. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. 80, 90 million. This better have some strong legs. This better have a long life if it's gonna make its money back. I do plan on watching it. I'm hoping I'm gonna have a good time with it. But yeah, yeah. So that was the Fall Guy. We got two more movies to discuss. We got the Episode One Phantom Menace re-release, and then we got Tarot, a movie I very much don't want to talk about, but like, I have to. So stay tuned for those. And yeah, so that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. You want to check out more videos like this? I got playlists on the homepage. All previous prediction videos I made on the channel. You want to watch any of those? Go right ahead. There's also box office prediction. No, the canceled series, where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. I covered Fall Guy 2 times. The first time was episode 148, where I talked about alongside Kung Fu Panda 4. Huh. Look at that. Yeah, Kung Fu Panda 4. And literally I made a joke in the comment in the description. I was like, the Fall Guy. No, not the game, because it sounds like, Fall Guys. That game that was the game that was big in like 2020 for a few months before it absolutely got demolished by Among Us. um So yeah, that was the first time I talked about it, because I didn't know it was based off some old show. I had no idea. And then second time was episode 218, where it was supposed to come out in March, and then it got pushed to May because Dune, well actually, okay, the whole thing was like Dune Part 2 supposed to be in November, then it got pushed to March, and then Fall got, damn, yeah, yeah, pushed to March, and like that was like, all well, and then Deadpool and Wolverine got pushed to July, and then I let that May spot open, and then Fall Guy took that, and then Dune Part 2 moved up to Fall Guy's date. It was a whole big domino effect there. But I talked about Fall Guy alongside Coyote versus Acme, which I said at the time it was saved. Now that's not quite the case. I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't know why they just won't release it. I don't understand the problem. I don't know why they're just against releasing it. They just want to kill it for a tax write-off. It's so stupid. Real stupid. But that was the second time I talked about The Fall Guy. So if you want to watch those two episodes or any other ones I've done on the channel, there's like 244 episodes. Yes, 244. I know there was an announcement with like the Masters of the Universe movie that's finally gonna happen in 2026, but I'll wait until something else pops up before I make episode 245. But there are 244 episodes, so if you want to watch any of those episodes from beginning to now, I want to binge them all from beginning to now, I highly encourage you to do that, so go do it. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. Next week, I will do my April recap. I am not looking forward to it at all, just being real with you, but I gotta do it, no matter how depressing it is, because man, April was just awful. Truly, just the worst. But yeah, stay tuned for that. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I made on the channel, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.